Hello again everyone. Today we're going to do oyster stitch. Now this one might take a little bit of practice, so I'm going to show you on the hoop here first before I show you on the wheel, because I can do the stitch larger here. So grab a spare hoop and have a practice first. Come up anywhere and then looking vertically, if you're right-handed, just go down to the left of that thread. So we're now going to make a twisted chain by coming up through that loop. So looking again vertically, and that's a twisted chain stitch, which has a little, in this case for this stitch, has a little loop at the top. Take your needle through that loop, don't go through the fabric, just the thread from right to left, and then just keep an eye on this thread as it's going through, because we're going to just put our needle there. You can pull it through, but it helps to just get your needle there, because the next stitch is going to go straight down into the fabric, and we're going to make a normal chain stitch like we would with a lazy daisy to the end of that thread, and then go down. So that's your oyster stitch. So it's made up really of 2 chain stitches. So let me do that again. Come up anywhere, make a twisted chain stitch, and in this case you'll go down to the left slightly, come up through the loop. This is how long you want your stitch, so this determines the length of the stitch. Take your needle through that thread there, try not to pull that all the way through, put your needle ready in there, take your thread over to the bottom, and let's go through that loop there to make your oyster stitch, and then go down. So again, come up, go down a little bit to the left, and come up through that loop. Take your thread, take your needle through the loop at the top that you've made. Try not to pull that all the way through. It will get pulled through eventually, but put your needle in so that you can see where you're going. Take your thread to the bottom and come up through the loop, and then finally anchor it. Now I'm going to try to do that left-handed. To work the stitch left-handed, take your needle down to the right of the thread, just a little bit further down from where you started, and then take it through, but don't pull all the way through, because you want to bring your needle up through the loop to make your twisted chain, and then take your needle through the stitch that you've made, the little stitch at the top here, that prong from left to right, and then try not to pull that all the way, but put your needle, trap the thread there, and then you can pull it, and then take the needle all the way through to make a full chain stitch, bringing your needle up through the loop at the end, and then finally anchor the stitch underneath like that. So let me see if I can show you this on the wheel. I've worked 5 here already so that you can see the sort of size, and I'm using a slightly thinner thread because they're quite small. You're not going to be able to see this very well, but let me just see if I can show you. So take your needle to the left and then come up through the loop further down, and then take your needle through that little stitch there that you've made. Try not to pull that all the way through so that you can put your needle in it through the fabric and up through the loop, and then anchor it down. So that's your first one, and I've just done little sort of daisies of 5 petals. So let me just do another one. Take it down, through the loop to make your twisted chain, through that stitch there. I can hardly see it, but anyway, through the stitch there. Don't pull that all the way through, put your needle down, up through the loop. So I'm going to carry on with that. I need to turn my work round to do the others ideally, and then I'll probably put some French knots as usual, or some colonial knots in the centre of the flowers. You can do whatever you like here, so you could just do single ones if you wanted, but let's see how this comes out. I'll show you. Here's my finished basket with the Oyster Stitch flowers. I've just put a couple of French knots in the centre of each one and a tiny stitch of green for the stems. So I hope you've enjoyed doing that. The next stitch I think we'll do is going to be blanket stitch.